Okay, my very first question. As a biracial woman with some pretty difficult hair, I have to know, were you afraid to comb Eloise's hair in that scene?
I was unsure. I didn't want to hurt her, and I knew she wanted it, and I loved the last line of it, which is "This is every day."
Yep.
I mean, that the movie fires on all cylinders, and it doesn't lack for humor or compassion or realism.
Absolutely, and I think so relevant, and I've already talked with Octavia and Anthony, and both of them just so passionate about what this film means to America, to audiences right now, and they also informed me that you basically made this movie happen. What about it made you say, I'm going to fund this, I want this in the theater?
I read it, I fell in love with it. And you know what? I don't fall out of love, and I can't be talked out of something I believe. And I thought this movie was as relevant as any movie that we're talking about right now, and maybe more so. It's not more important, but I think it's relevant. And it's an honest look at where we're at in our country today when it comes to race. But at its core, it's simply about the welfare of a little girl who happens to be biracial.
Right, and I think that what comes out, the overarching themes are love and family, but then you have all these real issues that real families deal with.
Real family in both families. There's a lot of respect on both sides, really. But when it gets down to fighting, sometimes, race came out, and it had no place in it, but it did. And when it did, people dug in.
And what do you hope people are talking about when they leave the theater after they see
I hope
this?
they're talking about it, seeing it a second time.
Well, yes.
And then I hope they're talking about the idea, which happens sometimes when movies get under your skin, that they want somebody else to see it. I know people, when they came out of Field of Dreams, go, my dad needs to see this. My brother needs to see this. I hope that when people walk out of Black or White, it has that kind of role. I want to see this again. You know what? I need to get somebody to see this. And that's when movies are working at their very best, really, is when you want to share them.
Absolutely, and share that story. Now, a lot of what your character says and the theme in general is that it all boils down to race because people want it to. You want to take it down to this level that no one's necessarily trying to go there, but it just keeps happening.
Right.
How do we fix that, I guess?
Well, part of it is seeing this movie and see what happens when you do that. And when you actually realize that you don't have to do that.
Right.
That's the beauty of this movie. Because people feel like they do have to do that race can be used as a tool. And when we have real problems with race. This isn't racism isn't somebody's imagination. It's lived every day by the black community and people of color, people of religion that look different. It's there, the veil of it. It must be a horrible thing to feel that. I don't, and so for me to ever pretend that I can is a mistake. For me to be able to empathize, that's absolutely necessary. What do I do about it? I make a movie about it. In this instance, I wasn't smart enough to write this movie so beautifully. I was just stubborn enough to not let go of it.
To make it happen. Well, I love that. I think that it makes people think on a human level and not on a skin color level, and that is all we can really ask for when it comes to discussion.
Is it a movie you would share?
Yeah,
with
definitely.
People? I mean, you obviously have a show where you're talking to a mass audience, but if you're sitting with a girlfriend, you see your mom and dad, you go, is this a movie? Say, I think you need to see this.
Certainly for me personally, because it resonates. I mean, I am literally half black, half white,
right.
And so my family,
But when you see this movie,
do
you feel like you do go out and say that?
I do.
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, that was my hope, and that was also what I believed was possible. We had to do our job the best we could, and part of that was not pulling punches. Part of that was not being politically correct. Part of that was saying the words that hurt the most that you need to hear.
Yep. Never pull punches. We like it much better when you don't pull punches.
I think people do.
You have a career of not pulling punches.
I think people do.
Well,
I don't think you ever want to be cute with people or assume, that you can say anything in the world. I think there's got to be a reason, and I think you have to see at the end why it was said.
Well, I think this is a great combination of being very real and not pulling the punches, but also then I don't want to say softening the blow, but there's real endearing love and family and all the things that we love.
It
while
didn't
making
have
you
a
think.
kumbaya ending by any stretch. I mean, if you look carefully, his heart broke into 1,000 pieces. But what he realized is that he's going to be better off sharing this child. That this child is going to have a much broader experience, and that he can trust that woman and that community.
Both sides matter. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome, honey.